You're a liar, liar, pants on fire. I don't even wanna go any further. Your body.
Hello guys, right now I'm standing at the intersection of Orange and University here in Riverside, California. This is the location in which a protester was struck on June 13th, 2025 during the No Kings protests that were happening nationwide. With that being said, Riverside has been an active zone of protest and civil unrest in light of the recent ICE deportations. We've been covering the protests that have been happening here for quite some time now, and that's what this video will be covering. So without further ado, sit back and enjoy. Thank you. Riverside, California, a city of roughly 315,000 residents, where more than half of the population identifies as Hispanic or Latino, alongside white, black, Asian, and other communities that reflect a long and complicated history of migration and settlement. Roughly 1 in 5 residents here is foreign-born, and many live within mixed-status households, families where some members are U.S. citizens, others are lawful permanent residents, and still, others are undocumented. Riverside's story has always been deeply tied to agriculture. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, its fertile soil and warm climate attracted waves of migrant laborers who harvested citrus groves, vineyards, and fields that made this region a center of California's agricultural economy. These workers came from Mexico, the Philippines, China, Japan, drawn by the promise of work, yet met with limited rights, exclusionary laws, and legal uncertainty. It was in fields like these across California that labor leaders like Cesar Chavez organized farm workers under the United Farm Workers Movement, demanding dignity, fair wages, and safer conditions. Their activism linked labor rights directly to the immigration debates that still echo today. Yet, behind every face in these protests lies the immense complexity of U.S. immigration law, a legal system that determines who belongs, who may work, who may stay, and who lives in fear. Some residents have naturalized, becoming full citizens after years of waiting, paperwork, and thousands of dollars in legal fees. Others hold green cards as lawful permanent residents, allowed to work, but denied full political participation. Still, others remain on temporary protected statuses, granting brief safety because of wars or disasters back home, but without any clear path to permanence. Many young people in Riverside were brought here as children and protected under DACA, Deferred Action of Childhood Arrivals, which shields them from deportation, but offers no guarantee of citizenship. And countless others live entirely undocumented, having entered without inspection or overstayed visas, often for decades, raising American-born children while living in constant fear of removal. This legal web is not accidental. It's the result of decades of shifting policies, from the restrictive 1924 national origin quotas to the 1965 Hart-Celler Act that reshaped the sources of immigration, from the Bracero program that once invited Mexican laborers to fill agricultural jobs, to the 1986 Immigration Reform and Control Act that legalized some while strengthening employer sanctions enforcement, and the sweeping 1996 laws that dramatically expanded deportation grounds and interior enforcement. What remains today is a system that often appears arbitrary, inconsistent, and profoundly unequal. But beyond the legal categories lies the even more complicated reality of undocumented immigration, a system of contradictions. On one hand, undocumented immigrants are deeply embedded in the economy. They take jobs in agriculture, construction, childcare, hospitality, often in positions that citizens are unwilling to fill. In places like Riverside, farms, packing houses, restaurants, hotels, and private homes quietly depend on their labor. They pay billions annually in sales, property, and even payroll taxes under borrowed or false Social Security numbers, contributing to programs like Social Security and Medicare they may never benefit from. Their work helps keep consumer prices lower and entire industries afloat. Yet, despite these contributions, undocumented immigrants live in the legal shadows. They remain excluded from most public benefits, live with constant risk of deportation, and are highly vulnerable to wage theft, exploitation, and unsafe working conditions. Knowing that, complaints may bring not legal remedy, but detention and removal. This unequal power dynamic allows many employers to quietly benefit while workers carry all the risk. And while some political voices portray undocumented immigrants as burdens on public services, numerous studies show that they are often net contributors to both the economy and tax systems. At its core, this system is built on contradictions, one where immigrants are simultaneously demonized politically, yet welcomed economically, where businesses quietly depend on unauthorized labor even as politicians demand stricter enforcement. And for the families caught inside, it means lives lived in legal limbo, parents fearing deportation while their U.S.-born children attend school, build futures, and wonder if their family will be separated tomorrow. And so, when protesters fill Riverside streets, when undocumented parents march alongside citizen children, when laborers raise their voices in public squares, they are not only protesting immigration raids or detention policies, they are responding to decades of exclusion, broken promises, and legal structures that profit from their labor while denying them the basic dignity of legal belonging. Their voices today echo the same struggles Cesar Chavez once fought for in these very fields, and they remind us that the debate over immigration is not just about laws. It is about people, families, and the unfinished question of who truly belongs in America. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy this special report. Thank you.
So hey guys, we got a protest on University and Main Street in Riverside. It looks to be like a anti-ICE protest, mostly peaceful, but pretty sizable crowd. I would roughly say about maybe 100 people, 200, around there. But as you can tell, they have, they're waving flags, Mexican flags, a lot of that kind of like anti-Trump sentiment, but for the most part, really peaceful. But you can see that the ICE raids are having quite the effect on like local immigrant groups, not just here in California, but throughout the country. So you can see there's a lot of support going on. Yeah, you can tell, obviously really large showing from the crowd, but yeah, so we're just gonna like get some more, hopefully we could get something. A lot of like anti-Tesla signs, but I guess that was kind of like what was expected. But yeah, just kind of a look at like the different signs they have. People have tax the rich, tax the rich. We got they don't really want to make friends. All they want is and decibels. They'll kill us like hooligans. But yeah, journalism out.